Hello, Angela. Lovely to see you. You are always so informative on these topics. It's kind of shocking, this expose today, isn't it, by this journalist who's been undercover. Are you surprised to see these families having basically their properties invaded, to have these meters forced into their homes?
Well, I do think it's a shocking story, and I think it's a wake-up call, not just to Centrica, but to all the energy companies. I mean, firstly, there are people who say, I'm not going to pay, they can afford to pay, but they won't pay. And so there is some as you do have to be able to deal with people in those circumstances. And that's what this process is supposed to be for. The process being that the energy company applies to the court for a court order in order to put in a prepaid meter. So the individuals who say they won't pay, but as I say, they can afford to, they then are given a prepaid meter, so they're not cut off. And we, that is everybody else who does pay their bill, aren't picking up the tabs for them. But then, as you rightly point out, you've got a lot of people who fit into that vulnerable category. And that's things like the elderly, it's people who are disabled, it's those with very young children. And if they have hit a difficulty with being able to pay for their energy, and a lot of people are finding it difficult at the moment, then a prepaid meter is not the answer. They need to have an arrangement with their energy company, and importantly, the energy company has a responsibility, the energy supplier has a responsibility to find out first if somebody who isn't paying falls into one of those special categories, vulnerable categories, and if they do, then they shouldn't be applying to the court. What they should be doing is making another arrangement. Now, what British Gas, what Centrica has said, is they've stopped all of their applications for court right now, and good on them. Clearly, they're going to have to sort out the vulnerable from the not vulnerable, but they've got a few months to do it, and then they can refresh how they approach this problem. And I think that what this sting has done, and what Centrica's announcement means, that all other energy companies pay exactly the same amount of attention first before applying for that court order.
The numbers are shocking, Angela, though, in terms of the number of court orders that were applied for. It's nearly 300,000 families. I mean,
I know.
Centrica and British Gas were determined to get these prepayment meters in these people's houses.
What it looks to me like is something, a process that was put in place for all, the sensible reasons that I've explained, because there are people who refuse to pay, and we shouldn't be picking up for them. It looks like a process that was put in place. That piece which says you do the due diligence to find out, the circumstances of the individual or the family or whatever it is first, it looks to me like that has not been done properly. And what's more, the courts have just granted the application rather than asking that question as well. So you're absolutely right to flag something has gone wrong.